Democratic nominee for governor Mikie Sherrill has announced her choice for running mate as she prepares to face Republican Jack Ciattarelli in the November 2025 election. Coming fast. We are joined by former New Jersey State Legislator John Wisniewski, a seasoned Democratic leader and former gubernatorial candidate himself. John, good morning. Thanks for being on.
Good morning, Ken. Thanks for having me on. Just going back to your time as a priest in Florida, being dressed in black and being covered with white powder in Florida could mean something else.
Yeah, but that would have had to have been in the 1980s. This was in the 90s, so I'm okay. I'm
Okay,
clear to
okay.
that. That's a good thing. John, now we're officially in the thrust of silly season, if you will. And I'm sure as we get into this season, I'm just curious, having been a gubernatorial candidate, does this give you throwbacks to this time as you get into that 10 to 12 week period before the election?
Well, remember, I was a primary candidate, not a general election candidate. But I get it, right? This is the sprint. When you're a gubernatorial candidate, whether it's primary or general,
Right.
this is the closing argument season in which hopefully you've raised all the money already that you need, or you're close to it, and you can spend really the time that most voters are paying attention is really middle September to November election day, making those closing arguments, distinguishing yourself from your opponent, but also letting people know how you're going to lead the state, right? So it's a twofold argument.
Mm. And you have in Mikie Sherrill for the Democrats a formidable candidate that Republicans have to be worried about because you have a woman who checks off all the Republican boxes, but yet still is much more moderate and diverse in her views for the Democrats. And now she's chosen a running mate in Dale Caldwell. Perfect name, Dale Caldwell, when you're talking about especially northern New Jersey, who is brilliant. I mean, the man has a pedigree of education, leading Centenary College, a pastor, eloquent, handsome. I mean, it's a formidable team. How do you feel about her selection of Dale
Well, I
Caldwell?
think it's an inspired choice. Mikey brings her political experience in Washington, her experience in getting elected to a congressional district that up until before her election was not a given Democratic district. So she has the political chops and she has the political skills. And what Dale Caldwell brings to the ticket is that gravitas of an educational leader that can help, because education is a big issue in New Jersey, and having somebody like
Mhm.
him on the ticket is automatically going to help provide that type of credibility and stability and forward thinking progressive attitude that's going to be necessary for her victory.
I believe he went to what, Princeton and Seton Hall, if I'm correct. And he's like I said, a pastor. I've met him once. I can't remember where, but I do recall how eloquent he was, and he commands a presence. So he's going to be tough in a debate. I don't know if well, we are having a lieutenant governor debate. That's going to be a tough debate for the GOP. How do you
Well, I think the
let's flip?
debates,
Go ahead.
good. I mean, the debates in general are, Mikey Sherrill's a formidable debater. Dale Caldwell will be a formidable debater. But look, having participated in gubernatorial debates, most of the people who are watching them are on either side, the truly committed, right? You
Mhm.
get 30 seconds, 60 seconds to answer a complicated question that probably deserves about a 5-minute response. And so they're important, but they're not dispositive to the outcome of an election.
Well, the good news is we're actually hosting the debates on New Jersey, and I'm not sure if you saw the way we restructured the debates. We gave people almost too much time, where people had 90 minutes. So I think that if we take that same structure this time, it's not going to be 30 seconds. So it'll be interesting to see, given the time to actually speak and let it breathe, where it goes. And Mikie, I've met Mikie Sherrill. Congresswoman Sherrill is an amazing speaker and she's just very warm and positive. And Jack Ciattarelli, is very affable about I can't speak today. I need my coffee. He's a good guy. And I think it's going to be interesting to see the two of them up there because it's not like you have one candidate in either of them who is, well, he's just not good or she's just not good in public. they're both very good, very positive people when it comes to speaking. When it comes down to the issues, though, we're in a state that's still, as much as Trump made gains, this is still not a pro-Trump state. So it's going to be an interesting uphill climb, I think, for the Republicans. How do you feel about that?
Well, I agree, and I think there's also the tradition, not tradition, at least the tendency over the years that New Jersey reacts in the opposite direction from the election of a president. So, in years in past, where in the preceding election cycle a Republican has been elected president, New Jersey elects a Democrat, and so I think that that tradition probably is still pretty much alive. Plus, I also think that the dynamic of one candidate having gotten Trump's endorsement and the other, obviously, the polar opposite, that's going to figure greatly into the election. And when you look at polling in New Jersey, Donald Trump is sagging more in New Jersey than he is nationally, below 40%. And that's going to continue to decline. And that is going to be a weight on her opponent.
Yeah, and you're talking about a state where he spends part of his life. He lives in Bedminster part of the time, and you would think that he would poll higher than that, but it tells you New Jersey is its own beast, right? It's its own thing, and it always has been. I think it always will be. How do you feel about? Let's switch over to the Ciattarelli side for a second. How do you feel about his choice in running mate? In this case, you have in 2025 two white males in almost the same age range. Do you think that that was a wise choice for the GOP?
Well, I think his choice is wise in one respect, in that he's brought a sheriff onto the ticket. So that creates this law and order issue that he can try to parlay some of what Donald Trump is doing and saying that his ticket is the law and order ticket. I think the lack of diversity in the sense of two middle-aged white guys on a ticket is probably not as helpful as it could be.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think it just doesn't say this is the ticket for everybody in the state. There are a lot more people than just. And I speaking as a white male, there are a lot more people than just white males in the state of New Jersey. Clearly, well, it is great to get your insight, John. I mean, you've been there obviously, and you know politics like few other people. So it was awesome to have you on. Please come back before November. We want to hear more from you. Former New Jersey state legislator, seasoned Democratic leader, and former gubernatorial candidate himself, John Wisniewski. Always thank you for being on, and thank you for being on
Thank you,
today.
Ken. Take care.
You bet. Have a good day. It is